Hello and welcome to Beautiful Literature with me, Teacher Martha. Thank you so much for joining. I want to hope that you are well, and if you're new here, just want to let you know that this is Fathers of Nations analysis. We are dealing with the Fathers of Nations, and we have been on it for quite some time. We have dealt with it in the chapter analysis from chapter 1, chapter 14. Please look it up. We've also looked at the themes, and now this is part 3 of the styles. We've already done part 1 where we looked at the relevance and the significance of styles, what are styles, and then we've also looked at part 2 where we have also talked about some various styles. We looked at satire, we also looked at irony, and so on. And so I encourage you to have a look at them so that you are in touch with what is going on. And this video, we will be looking at part 3 of the styles, and this is the last one. And so I'm moving a bit fast because in the interest of time, because I don't want us to be on this for long, hoping that at your own time, this is just a guide, that at your own time you will find a way of getting through the rest of the styles. And if you need assistance, like we have, you can see on our description, and you can get in touch with us and we can guide you, we can help you further. And even when you look at the comment section, we will drop in a few things there. Even on our website, you'll be able to see quite a number of things that we are doing there, and you will be guided accordingly. And so today I want us to look at some 3 styles, and let's start off with flashback. And the flashback is a very important style where the author takes us back from where we are, from our current events happening today, and takes us back years ago, what happened years ago. And as you can see this text, if there is a style that has been extensively used, is the style of flashback. In fact, I think if the author didn't use flashback, probably would not have been able to have this text with us, because almost everything, the current events of the Fathers of Nations is in the summit where all the heads of state, the 50 heads of state, are gathered. But now we have been able to be taken back to the lives, especially of the 4 travelers, the Path Alpha travelers. We've been taken back and see their lives before they came for the summit today. And so therefore, the author has extensively used flashback, and I really don't think that should be a challenge for you to highlight. And so we begin with, I'll just mention, because I don't want to go into the details, because I'm sure you can do that for yourself. Professor Kimani is one of the whose life has been flashed back, whose life has been taken back to way before he even, how he joined the university, and how he became the senior lecturer, how he even became a professor, how he married the campus beauty called Asia Omondi, and the children, and what happened to his marriage and all that, and his work with the losing of his prestigious position, and what exactly went on with his life. And so that is flashback. The author brings all that to us to today, taking us back so that we are able to understand this character we are talking about. Why is he behaving the way he's behaving? What are these events that he experienced and have shaped what he is today? And so that is the use of flashback. And other people still call it story within a story, because we have this major story about the summit, but then we have another story of Professor Kimani and what happened to his family. And so that is one instance of flashback. We also have Abiola Afolabi, who is a major character in this text, and we see him today as the guide. We see him today as one who is guiding and who is helping the observers. But now, before that, we know that he's coming from somewhere, that Abiola was married, he had a wife called Pamela, and we are actually told exactly what happened to his family. He had no children. How did he end up there? And all those things about his father-in-law, about his family back in Nigeria, and all those things, they are helping us to piece this man together and help us to know who exactly is Abiola Afolabi. And so that is the use of flashback, and the author uses that deliberately to help us appreciate and create a storyline for us, the story to join the dots and help us to get to some place where when we look at him today, that man makes sense to us. And of course, some themes are also developed along the way. Comrade Melusi is another illustration where we have serious flashback, and we are taken back to who he was before before today, before he's in for the summit. How did he end up here? How did he even end up having the name Comrade? And it's a name he insists that you must call me Comrade. And of course, we are taken through his sad story, the story of betrayal and the frustration and the intimidations and so on that he experienced politically, the political assassinations that were going on, and the struggle that he had to go through, even his country. Now, that is the use of flashback. And not to mention Pastor Chiamaka, how did he end up here? How did he become a pastor? We are told about his reckless driving, and how he ended up becoming a born-again Christian when he saw the miracle that after that bad accident. And we are told about his story, and that is through flashback. And finally, we have Engineer Tahir and his life, and how did he end up here in Agda? I mean, as a traveler for Agda and so on. And we are told about his frustrations, his achievements, his highs, his lows, his frustration with a girl he wanted to date, and she said no, and how, all that story, all that we are being taken back, as long as it is not happening today in the summit, that is flashback. And the author uses flashback to just take us back into things that we were never able to experience, to bring us that, so that we are able to build some characters, we are able to build some themes, and we are able to build the storyline like we talked in the other video. And so I don't want to go back to that. So that is it on flashback. Can I move on to imagery? And just to let you know that I hope by now you know what imagery is. Imagery is a style that we use everywhere, and especially even in poetry, we have so much of imagery. And imagery is divided into quite a number of sections. And number one top in the list is a simile. That similes are part of imageries and metaphors, and we have personification, and sometimes even some people push rhetorical questions there and so on. But let me just say, one of the major things about imagery is its ability to create a mental image in your mind. When a simile is put forward, are you able to see that in a better way? And I remember I had given an example earlier about when you're talking about the role of some of these stylistic devices. When the author says that she is a peacock, you're able to, instead of just saying she's beautiful, when you say she's a peacock, that's a metaphor. And what does that do? In your mind, you're almost able to look at this girl who is being described as beautiful and vis-a-vis a peacock. And there's an image that is created. There's a better understanding for this, that is being brought to your attention. And so when you talk about imagery, we are therefore looking at the various attempts the author has used to try and highlight the picture that he would want you to have at the back of your mind. And so let's go straight into the similes. I'll just mention them. I will not even go into the details because I want to hope this is just a guide. You can go down into the text and just look at some of those things for yourself. And number one about the similes that we have is especially at the beginning, where the author has deliberately decided to explain to us the four travelers who are at Seamount Hotel. What kind of people are they? Their physical description. And Comrade Melusi has a mustache, and we are told he has gone ahead to explain how it looks. I say it's like it's a moth. It looks like a moth that is trying to free itself. It's a fighting to free itself. And that in itself, almost in your mind, you can almost look at that mustache and you're able to almost even be able to visualize and see how it looks like a moth. You can imagine the movement of the lips when he's trying to talk. It looks very funny. And Pastor Chiamaka has also been described. He looks like a failed sumo wrestler, but he has been covered. He's been covered by clothes. So he's big, he's all that. And so when the author uses that examples, like he looks like a failed sumo wrestler, wrestlers are not small bodied. They are huge, they are massive. But then we are told that has been covered by the clothing. And so the use of that simile gives you a mental image. You almost are able to draw him and so on. And we also told about Fiona's eyes. They are wide, white, like a pair of the moons. And so that helps us to also be able to appreciate the beauty and how beautiful she was looking. And then Walomu's successor, we also with the simile that we are told that he was sluggish and groggy, like a satiated python, we always having a hangover. He was always having a hangover. And that description of this were almost the predecessor, not successor, sorry, the predecessor. He looked like a saturated python, and at the back of your mind, you're able to actually just look at him and see he must be having so sluggish and groggy, and one who was not able to make proper decisions, and so on and so on. And so I want you to have a look at the various examples of similes in the text. Kindly go ahead and look for them. Just to mention about the metaphors, we have various metaphors used in the text. Like, for example, we have a seer who dropped the bomb, who dropped the bomb. And of course, we know that she didn't pick up physical bomb that is used by the terrorists. He was actually just brought this life-changing discussion and used to her husband. So the author calls it the bomb, and so it's a metaphor, so to speak. And even Pamela's father, when he went to this convenience store, he's referring to his watch and saying, "Look at my baby," and he's trying to explain how this baby is helping him so much. It's a gadget, but he refers to it as a baby, just to show the attachment he has towards this gadget. Remember, he's a lonely old man. And then we have the bomber, who is the new ruler. He's being referred to as the bomber because of how he's bombed the economy. He has killed people. He has messed up people. So he's referred to as a bomber. So that's a metaphor to describe him indirectly, and so on. And the phone booths, they were a gold mine. We are told how the phone booths were a gold mine. Remember, I promised that I'll not go into telling you this is found in this page and this page, because I expect you to have a look at that. I expect you to go through the text and be able to pick that for yourself. And again, I promise that if you look at our website, you'll be able to see some of those notes there. So it's okay, don't worry, even if I don't go into those details. And President Bagaura is his head was a beam, was a bean-shaped, hairless, smooth, That description of President Bagaura's head, like in the form of a bean that is hairless and that is very smooth. The author deliberately uses those imageries to help us understand the physical appearances of these characters and so on. And I want to hope that out of that we are able to see those examples more clearly. And personification, let me just rush up on that. On the personification, where non-living things are given human characteristics, character traits, life, things that happen to human beings and to living things. And like, for example, we are told of a situation where the description of the sunrise, that it threw the heavens wide open over Banjul over the day, on the day of the summit, the day the summit began. There is that personification of the heavens, the way it threw the sunrise and over that area and so on. So there is a personification that you'd think actually we're talking about a human being. Nick Sentinel, when he's talking to Fiona about the new device, he actually refers to it like a person. You'd think it's a person who is talking about, he's referring to the silent listener. He says, "Meet the silent listener," refers to him, refers to the silent listener as a beauty. She's a beauty. And so the beauty in this case is just to show us the attachment that Nick has towards this gadget. I think Nick just loves his work, so that when he's describing this gadget, he will rather use something that is very beautiful. And of course, the use of the Mother Africa. You remember the discussion between when Fiona is talking about Mother Africa. It's only a few minutes after the sunset, but look at you. You are so dark already. And of course, Dr. Folabi also in reference to all that. I want to just hope that out of those small examples that I'm brushing over, you're able to have a look at the text, read it at your own time, just at your own time, and just keep combing those things. Keep checking page per page. What styles do you see there? What styles are they have been used in that page, in that whole text. And finally on that, I want to talk about the rhetorical questions. These are interrogative statements that do not demand an answer. I hope you know that by now, that's another style that the author has used. And of course, there is so many rhetorical questions. In fact, those ones, by just flipping through the pages, you're able to pick them. Like, for example, on page 69 and 70, there is so much of rhetorical questions there. Page 182, there is a lot of rhetorical questions there. Page 117, I will not go into that. Kindly find time. I encourage you to find time and make sure that you're able to address that. Finally, let's have a look at one more style, because I want to finish up on this by use of by use of contrast. I know this is a style most of us are struggling with, and the contrast is a style that is used to show the difference between people, and to show between people and places and the situations where the author is contrasting. In poetry, we talk about juxtaposition. You're positioning this versus this one. We are able to see two things. We are able to compare two people. We are able to compare two situations. We are able to compare two events and two circumstances. And for example, one of the places where a contrast has been drawn is the earnings between Professor Kimani, the professors, and the members of parliament. That despite the education and the time spent by the professors in school to earn what they have, to be where they are, of course their pay is much, much lower as compared to the members of parliament, who probably we don't think that they deserve to earn that much. And so there is that contrast between them, and we're told it's 100 times. It's 100 times more for the members of parliament. The other contrast is where the Asia contrasts her husband with a newborn Walomu, and actually he says that he's contrasting what newborn Walomu can offer. And remember, even this conversation they're having, and she's telling the husband that you actually look for greener pastures. You just need to drop this thing about teaching, because it's not helping us. Like, for example, look at newborn. He already has 4 cars. You know what she's trying to do is to try to woo him into just trying to be like newborn, and showing that actually you are lagging behind. You should be up somewhere near newborn, and so on. We also told how she compared the husband to the old car. This car is not going anywhere, and when she looks at the car, she actually sees the husband, and says one time when they were getting married, he was young, energetic, visionary, heading somewhere, but now he's just like his old car, heading nowhere. So contrasting him and newborn Walomu, now those two are not able to get along. And of course, the other contrast we can talk about is the contrast between Way Omega and Path Alpha, which is very confusing, especially in the summit. Remember when they all came there to just help the heads of state to choose between Way Omega and Path Alpha, and they were quick to say that Way Omega is big on ideas and weak on implementation, and then Path Alpha is small on ideas and strong. And they're contrasting. Why should we pick Way Omega? Why should we pick Path Alpha? What is the strength of Way Omega? What is the weakness of Path Alpha? That did not really come out well, but we as the audience, we are able to see where we are, where exactly they are looking at. We don't even know exactly what was in Path Alpha. We don't even know exactly what was in Way Omega, but all that we know, there's a contrast of those two documents. And of course, this is that Path Alpha is like Way Omega is like a bird that is in the bush, but Path Alpha presses that bird into your hands. And so there is a contrast between the two. And of course, there is the last one I would want to point out is the president of Gambia, who is, we are told he's big-sized, and he's huge, but his voice is thin and nasal, such that you're expecting someone who is big to have a very heavy voice, booming and all that, but when he shows up and opens his mouth, you're surprised, because the voice and the body do not agree. So there's a contrast. You're looking at the two against each other, and you see there is a difference. Remember, contrast is the opposite of comparison. So we are not comparing, we are contrasting. We are looking at the difference between each one of them. And so therefore, I want to stop those styles at that point. Remember the ones I mentioned at the beginning that of the previous video, and we talked about those other issues like vivid description, hyperbole, that is exaggeration. We have use of local dialect or borrowed words. We have use of, I mean, there's so much that we have not handled, and unfortunately we may not be able to deal with all of them. In case there is a style that you really feel that you want assistance, kindly check up with me. You have my contacts there, you have the WhatsApp group, you also have the comment section. You can look at it in our website. I mean, there's so much you can be able to find help, so don't struggle alone. That's why we are here. So I want to stop it at that on the styles, and just a reminder that if you haven't subscribed, kindly remember to do so. We'll appreciate that very much, and even share with the other students, the other teachers, and the other people who may be interested in this kind of content. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next one as we talk about characterization. Thank you.